Fishful Thinker Television, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, the great indoors for those who love the great outdoors. Toyota Trucks, moving forward. Hewlett-Packard, Vent. St. Croix Rods, handcrafting fishing rods for over 60 years.
All right, so we got the old dog. We're gonna hit the beaver ponds today. We're high country here in Colorado. I've got a light action St. Croix spinning rod, little tiny Shimano, and 2-pound test Fireline crystal on here. Real light action stuff today. Should be absolutely beautiful. It's gonna be hot down in town, down around Denver area and down on the plains of Colorado. It's gonna be like 95 degrees today. It's almost August, and we've escaped to the hills. No crowds, nice and quiet. We even already saw moose driving in here, so it should be a really neat morning. All right, when most people start thinking about coming to a little small stream like this, you know, we've got a real small trout stream. It's got a variety of rainbow trout and brown trout in it. Should be an excellent way excellent place to come catch a lot of fish, but most people think you gotta have a fly rod to do that, and that's definitely not the case. You know, these fish are not necessarily giant. We could catch fish from 5 inches to 25 inches. There's just no telling, but they're not particularly big, and our water's very, very small. We don't have a lot of depth to our water. We don't have a lot of places that we can make long casts. So we're gonna use real light, short spinning equipment here, very, very light, small spinning equipment, just to show you don't have to have a fly rod to catch trout. I mean, sure, we all love the fly rod, but you don't have to have it. One of the things we're gonna throw today is just a little jig head like this. We've got a 16th ounce jig head, just a real small little jig head like that, and we're gonna tip it with a little 2.5 inch Berkeley Gulp minnow. We'll put that right on that jig head, or we might fish it on a split shot rig instead of on the jig head itself. But that little minnow, I'll get one of these out of here. These little minnows right here, just threaded on these jig heads, are a very, very excellent way to catch trout and panfish and everything else. We'll pop one of these together, just rig them nice and straight like that. Just a real basic little minnow like that, and in these beaver ponds, the fish should just eat that up really good. Something simple for a spinning rod to fish with. Another excellent choice is a little floating minnow bait. This is a little tiny minnow bait, will float, and it'll have a really good action. So when we get around some of the ponds themselves, the bigger beaver ponds, we'll certainly swim this through there. Brown trout are well known to like these. Rainbows will like something like that. So that's a good choice. Again, it's very small and light. Another one that a lot of people don't think about is a little tiny lipless crankbait. That's an 1/8 ounce lipless crankbait, tiny little lipless crankbait. More known probably for catching bass, but believe me, this dog will hunt when it comes to finding trout. So we'll put that one to work sometime later on today as well. And then we've got a few other things, you know, just some other little tube jigs and little basic minnow baits, but basically that'll get it done. You know, we've got a little spinner. Most people are familiar with little spinners like this for trout. One thing you'll notice, I have rainbow trout colors and real natural colors, because I do expect that these water, or I do understand that this water is very, very clear, and so the real natural colors will help with that. All right, so one of the things about fishing these little tiny streams like this is you got to be quiet, and you got to be a little bit sneaky about it. We're going to come down here. We got a little run right up here. We'll sneak down here, light little jig, and be real quiet about it. Let's see who might be home up there. Just finesse that jig along, don't do a lot with it. Oh, he chased it down right there. There's a little guy sitting right here in front of me that just chased it. That tells me to pick it up, pick the speed up a little bit. Well, they'll follow it. We may have to play with our presentation a little bit until we see what they want here. Oh, I got 2-pound test here and a little tiny fish. Come on up here, buddy. Oh, he's beautiful though. Absolutely beautiful fish. Look at that, shining in the sun. Piece of cake. We'll set this rod down and get him unhooked real quick. All right, we've got a real nice little run right here, and I'm fully expecting the fish will be up against that edge, so I'm going to be real subtle about how I sneak in here. I'm going to underhand this bait. We're just going to pull it on down, and just like that, he comes charging out of there and grabs it. Oh, and he came off. All right, but this little swirl, I don't know if we can see. We got a little swirl right up here. See if we can get into there. Oh, buddy. Gotta love the light line like that. You can see that fish come charging out of there. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Trying to get him out of the current here. See if we can sneak down here. Real graceful here. All right. Set our rod down here. Try to keep him in the water as much as possible. The hook is barbless, so he should come right out if I can get a hold of him. Just like that. Nice little rainbow trout. Just perfect. See you, buddy.
You know, bass guys are most often associated with bait casting tackle when you see the pros on TV, but today's angler has opportunities to do a lot of the heavy presentations normally associated with bait casting with spinning rods. But with the advent of super lines, I can very comfortably fish a 20 or 25 or even a 50-pound line on spinning tackle. So today's angler can get away with throwing spinning tackle if you don't want to learn casting tackle. And St. Croix Rods has a full line of spinning tackle available in all of the bass-specific rods, the Avids, the Triumphs, all the rods up and down the line, all the way to the Legend Extremes like the one Jared Edwards is holding. Jared, I know you would probably prefer casting tackle. What are some of the advantages?
Well, you know, it's always about the right tool for the right job. Most bait casting equipment on the market is designed to hold 12-pound test and above. You know, generally, unless you're dealing with saltwater and huge open face spinning reels, you're going to be a lot more accurate with that. And also, when you're dealing with lures roughly 3/8 of an ounce all the way on up to an ounce, ounce and a half, bait caster is going to be able to handle it better. Generally, with your bait casters, again, when we talk about the right tool for the right job, you know, it's going to be the right presentation that we're making. Generally, with bass fishing, your spinner baits, your crankbait is going to be a little bit heavier of a bait. More times than not, the bait caster is going to be able to handle that. So a good rule of thumb is anytime you're fishing a lure 3/8 ounce or above, and anytime you need short, exact presentations, a bait caster is going to be your ace in the hole.
Gotcha. Some of my unweighted baits, like a Gulp Minnow unweighted, is better served on spinning tackle. Use the heavy baits in your casting gear and you'll catch more fish.
All right, now I can see as we sneak up on this dam here, there's a couple keys to fishing these. First of all, water's glass calm, obviously, and gin clear. So if we make any noise, any sudden movement, anything that gets us in that fish's visual plane, we are done. We might as well go back to the car because they're not gonna bite. Doesn't matter how good of a cast we make. We've got very light, very subtle tackle, so we can't really fish right up against the dam either because we'll snag. So if you're gonna fish something like this with spinning gear, important to make a good throw, make it quietly, and make it from sunk down below this here beaver dam. So we'll see if we can catch one real quick. He might be little, but with 2-pound test. That is a beautiful fish right there. We got a little baby brown trout here, and he is absolutely beautiful. Come on over here, little guy. Come on over here. We'll get a hold of you gracefully. Again, we're fishing with barbless hooks, so they come out easy. This guy got kind of wrapped in it. There we go. Perfect little trout. We'll dunk him down. Perfect little morning brown trout. Just had a couple little tiny guys looking at it. There we go. Right up in the current like he's supposed to be. Perfect little fish. Well, the funny thing is, a lot of people wouldn't think you can catch trout in this real shallow water on lures, you know, and there's real small little trout like this on lures, but this little 1-inch bait, it's weedless. This is a shiny, shiny little fish right there. Look at that, perfect little trout. Gorgeous colors on him. I'll slide him back in the water real graceful and let him go. You can see him take off across the pool in the clear water. I love that. Now what we got, it's a 1-inch little baby Berkeley power nymph on a, I think it's a 16th, it might even be a 32nd ounce jig head and 2-pound test. So even those little tiny fish like that, you could hear the drag clicking. Great fun, no doubt about it. Absolutely beautiful setting. Got my old Labrador standing over here behind us. Beautiful time. Oh, getting back in the water over here. Beautiful, beautiful fish. All right, we'll sneak down here where I can land him gracefully here. All right, look at the colors on this one. What a fish. Now I'm telling you what, hold still buddy, we'll get you unhooked right quick. And get you out of the line. All right, so you're probably gonna notice we've changed clothes. We've been out for a couple hours now, and it's finally warmed up a little bit where it's pretty nice out now. So we've changed clothes. I lost the long sleeve shirt. And another thing that's really important, you know, this water we've been fishing is so clear, as you can see. So I've changed sunglasses, and the polarization on your sunglasses makes so much difference. Be able to see the fish, be able to see the stuff you're gonna snag. You know, there's the safety aspect of missing a hook set or having a jig snag and come flying back at you. So there's a safety aspect of sunglasses as well. But the reason I changed is in the morning we had lower light levels, and I had glasses that had a little bit higher light transmission to them. And those, you know, as far as how much sheer light they would let in through the sunglasses. Now we've got some more sun, it's a little brighter out, and so I've got a little bit less light transmission in my sunglasses. Still have full coverage, so no sun comes in around, but it'll give me a real good shot at spotting all these fish in these ponds before we throw to them. And that, throwing real small baits, and it's nice to be able to see them. Well, that explains why he was hard to catch, but he is our third species for the day. If we can get a hold of him gracefully here and put him in the water for a minute. Come on up here. That's a little tiny brook trout, and I mean heavy on the little tiny. This one, let me get that barbless hook out of there real quick. That is a little tiny perfect specimen of a brook trout. We're gonna get him back right quick. Beautiful little fish. But you see why they're hard to hook. They're not very big, so you gotta be real quick about the hook set. Bit the little tiny jig, don't need a fly rod. It's good fun. Trying to keep him out of the rocks and stuff there. All right, got another little brook trout. And that's funny because when we were upstream, we caught all rainbows and browns, and now we've come downstream and we're catching brook trout. And I would expect it to go the other way around. As a general rule, they'll go the other way. And this is a beautiful little specimen. These guys are little, but what they lack in size, they make up for in beauty. And that is a perfect little brook trout. And those little guys are tasty. They heavily populate. There he goes. They heavily populate. They grow like, reproduce like rabbits, and because there's so many of them, they tend to be small, but they make for very fine table fare. The Division of Wildlife has some fairly relaxed rules on what you can do as far as keeping them goes. I think you can keep a big number of them, if I'm not mistaken, on some real small ones like sub 8 or sub 10 inchers. So good eating source. If I had a cast iron skillet, we could make those taste good, but for now we're just going to keep letting them go. Okay, if you can see the river here off to my left, I got the river swinging around the outside, got a sandbar in between us, and it's kind of running across the river at a 90-degree angle there. And we're going to try to get a cast up on that sandbar, up against that undercut bank, and drift it right along that undercut bank. You can see a fish just rose up there. Oh, that was not the cast I wanted to make. So rather than spook the pool, I'm going to go ahead and reel it on in and try it again. My concern is the wind here. If you notice, I'm a little bit more conservative on the first throw to a spot, and then I get the more aggressive as I go. Some of those little guys are hard to keep pinned, even on these little jig heads. That fish hit it exactly where it was supposed to hit it. I got a good hook on him, I thought. We'll see if his buddies, now that everyone knows there's something to eat in there. Oh, that was a big one there. That was a big one. Where did he come from? Oh, he's swirling at it. There, we got him. We got him that time. Now keep in mind, folks, big is relative. I know that it's the new millennium and size counts, but when you're fishing a little stream like this, that's a nice brookie. And we're gonna get him over here. He's pretty fired up here. We'll get him over here. It took a couple casts to get him. He was flashing on the bait. What we're doing. Okay, oh, come here, fish. He went between my line and the rod. Okay, let's get him unhooked real quick. This is barbless hooks. Okay, that's a pretty little brookie there. That's probably a 10-inch fish right there. That's a good eating size fish. Lots of real nice color on him. You can see him there. We'll get him down where he can get a breath. I hate to see him breathing like that. We'll put him down here in the water. What a beautiful little fish though. And like I said, those are good eating. If you're gonna eat fish, that's an excellent one to eat. He goes right back to the hole. All right, watch this. Here we go. Oop, that was a bad throw. Oh man, that is a giant, folks. Okay, how are we gonna get him to bite? Just like that. And again, giant is always relative. Beautiful rainbow here. Again, I was able to make the cast even a couple of times because a lot of times you're gonna lose these fish on the hook set. You're gonna miss them. I was able to make the cast. There he goes. He's gonna go downstream right and visit you guys. There's a good one here. Now he was up in the front of that pool. That's a pretty one there. Right where he's supposed to be. Right where we've been catching most of them, right at the heads of the pool. He's digging. This is a little chunker here. Come on over here. Come on over here. Now again, we're using barbless hooks, so he'll come right off as soon as I can get a hold of him here. Got him right in the tip of the snout. Oh, and he got away just like that. That figures. Well, we got the fun part out of him. Let's see about see if there's another one in that pool real quick here. See if we can go 2 for 2. There's a nice one here. Now we got a real nice one. He was up underneath there. Now this is a pretty rainbow. For a stream this size, this is a really pretty rainbow. I'm gonna see if I can lead him over to the sand where I can deal with him. And we'll see what we got. This is a real nice one here. And I don't have a net. In the interest of traveling light today, I don't have a net. And we'll see about getting him off gracefully here. Now this little rainbow right here ate that jig. Hey, come here, it's okay.
will be nice to you if you just hold still. Now a net would be a good thing right here, I'll tell you the truth. Okay. Got the barbless hook. You can see, give my air real quick. And look at this rainbow. Now that fish right there, that's a good one there. That's a real pretty rainbow. See him shining in the sun. You gotta love that in the Colorado high mountain stream like this. You know, it's nearly August out. It's real warm. He's gonna go visit you guys. What a beautiful fish. Real warm. We got up here and out of the city. We got up and had a nice, had us a good outing. And I'll tell you what, we're probably going to get out of here in time to beat the thunderstorms. We've had kind of an interesting day, and we've caught lots of fish. We haven't had a lot of problem catching some fish, even though the conditions weren't exactly what we thought they were going to be. But we've stayed with it, and we've been fishing all these little pockets. We've caught tons and tons of little fish, little baits, real simple. Mountain streams like this all over the western United States. They're all over the Rocky Mountains anyway, Sierra Nevadas of California. But bottom line is, if you take advantage of the summertime, there's no crowds out here. It's a beautiful time to be out. And thanks for joining us on Fishful Thinker. That was a big one.